We're really excited to be with you this week. We have the app for about a week and a half before they launched it on Saturday to play around with it. Members of the advisory board had it, and so the guy JJ that went through the demonstration on Saturday, he did a demonstration for us about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, but he ripped through it. He did that entire demonstration probably in 15 minutes.
Or you're taking notes.
Yeah,
so
trying to get it. And it was a beta version that we had. And so it wasn't functional. We couldn't post from it. We could just kind of look at it. But on Saturday, hearing him go through it in a lot more detail and slower, even though it was still like drinking from a fire hose, it was still a lot. But, having it explain a little bit slower, I mean, it just blows me away what they've done. Because I've been involved with other companies that have launched apps, and usually in the beginning there's such limited functionality and so many bugs, and I wasn't very hopeful when they told us they were doing an app, because I just thought, in the beginning it's going to be kind of lame, but eventually it'll get there. But I'm just blown away with how good this app is, all the different things that it has.
And not only the content is beautiful and great, like the follow-up part of it is amazing to me. So I am excited more for the follow-up than the execution of the RUVI Share and getting our marketing pieces out to our people. So that part is amazing.
Where do we want to start, Lisa?
Let's start breaking down the numbers for everybody.
So after the meeting on Saturday, I could not sleep that night. I had so many things going through my mind. And you know what I kept thinking about was Shark Tank. Lisa is a huge fan of Shark Tank. And a lot of times they'll have people come on in the Shark Tank who pitching their business. Yep. This is subscription-based business. Right. And Lisa, so I asked Lisa this, Lisa, when someone comes onto Shark Tank and they're pitching a subscription-based business, which is basically what we are, if you think about it, either deliveries or becoming a consultant, you're kind of joining with us and you're going to be an ongoing customer. So we really are a subscription-based company. What are the questions? There's really, I thought of 3 main questions that they always ask, that the Sharks always ask people when they have a subscription-based business. Yep. What's the first thing they always want to know? The first question they always want to know is the customer acquisition cost. Yep, they always ask them, what's your customer acquisition cost? Next thing, there's usually 2 other things they ask. You remember what those are? The next one is, what is the lifetime value that customer brings to your business? Yep. And the last one would be the average retention of the lifespan of that customer. Yep, yep. So those are the 3 things: customer acquisition cost, lifespan of a customer, and value of a customer. So what I'm going to do is I put together a little PowerPoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip through some numbers just to give you some baseline so we can kind of talk about this. And what we want to do, let me just back up just a second. And I said this in the Facebook Live that we did yesterday, but for the last several weeks, we've been talking on the advisory board. Jason Norton just keeps saying, I really need you guys to help us figure this out, figure this out. And we've had calls with him privately, and he said the same thing. I need you guys to help us figure this out. And I don't know, it didn't sink in what exactly he meant by that. And I finally said, Jason, what exactly do you mean by you need us to help you figure this out? And he said, well, kind of like back in the early days of parties, we had the queue, which is our deliveries now, and we had, different things we gave you guys to go out and sell with, but we didn't tell you how to do it. You figured out how to do it and what was the best way, right? And there are people on this call today who in those early days went out and figured out what worked. And a lot of you together with your team and with other consultants collaborated and shared ideas and tried different things and figured out what worked and what didn't work. Okay, so Jason would say, help us figure this out. And so early on, people did that, and they figured out parties and what made it work, and then shared that with other people. Well, we need to do the same thing with this app. We got to figure out what works. The company has obviously spent a lot of money and time and resources to develop this app along with their partner company. but they don't know exactly. They're not out in the field. They don't know how to best use it and make it work. They're giving us ideas, but we need to figure it out. So that's why I started thinking through these numbers and how we could do that. So the first thing is, what's the customer, one of those things that the sharks want to know, what's the customer lifespan? So you have to make, when we're starting out with something like this, you have to make some assumptions of what they are. And so I'm just going to make an assumption that our average customer lifespan of a delivery customer is 3 months. Now, it probably is longer. We have customers who have been on the first to queue and now deliveries for 10 years. I've seen consultants on this call who have been around a long time and probably have the same. They might not order every single month, but they've been on it, at least off and on for 10 years for us. So it could be a lot longer, but just taking a very low baseline of 3 months for customer lifetime. Then the next thing is, what's the customer lifetime value? Okay. So the way that you could figure that out is, what I did is I looked at, if a customer comes in and stays for 3 months, and we're talking about RUVI here because we're talking about the RUVI Share app. It would be a little bit different for food customers, but just want to stick with something basic. So in month 1, if they ordered the 32 pack, that's $111.69. You would make 10%. Now, this is just the base. This isn't builder bonus. This doesn't include if your total sales are enough to move you up to a higher commission amount. Just taking the very baseline, you would make $11.17. Then in months 2 and 3, you get 5% on that. And so you would make another $11.17. So your total for those 3 months, you would make $22.34. Now, not super exciting, right? But it's going to get exciting here in a few minutes. Okay, so hang with me. So if the customer lifetime value of a brand new customer that we acquire is $22.34 to us, on a consultant, it would be higher because the average retention is higher. So I've taken a lifespan of 12 months for a consultant. Again, a lot of them are longer than that, a few are lower, but on average, that's probably a reasonable assumption. So in month 1, if they did the RUVI kit at $120, you made 20%, that'd be $24. And then in months 2 through 12, you would make 5% on their first $50 of their delivery. So that'd be another $27.50. So your total value would be $51.50 for a new consultant. And that's, again, doesn't include team overrides, doesn't include pool shares, doesn't include them building a team or anything like that. That's just the basic, okay? So we could look at those two things of what our customer value is and our consultant value of a new team member. So now what I always like to do when I'm looking at this is, what's my break even? And what I'm leading up to is showing you how you can really make money by sharing this through the app, okay? And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But hang with me on the numbers. I know for some people, for Lisa, start talking these numbers, your head just spins, right?
Yeah.
So break even, what would the break even be? So the company announced on Saturday that they will mail a RUVI sample in a beautiful marketing piece to our customers for $6.50. So I first looked at that, and I'm a cheapskate. I'm like, wow, $6.50. I think I could do it cheaper myself. Well, I actually looked into it over the weekend, and the cheapest I could mail it would be $2.78 through first class mail. And then the RUVI package cost me $3.49. That's $6.27. And then I'd have to pay for an envelope. So I'm right at about $6.50. And that's without the beautiful marketing piece. And that's me having to go to the post office and all that kind of stuff. So it really is a pretty good price, but I want to show you how this breaks down. So basically, at that customer value that we talked about of $22.34, it would be, you need to get 29% of the people you send a sample to become a customer in order to break even. And for a consultant, you need to get 13% because your value is higher. If 13% of the people that you mail a sample to become a consultant, you would break even on your advertising. So basically what that means is for every 10 samples you send, if you get 3 customers or you get 1 consultant, you're going to break even. You're going to pay for the cost of those shipments, right? So if you send out 10 samples and it costs you $65 because it's $6.50 each, and 3 people become customers, you have covered your cost. So anyway, so if you spent $65 and you get 3 customers at about $22 each, you're going to break even. Now the question is, isn't it reasonable to think that if you send out 10 samples, you would get 3 delivery customers? Lisa, do you think so? What about you guys on here? Type into the chat. Do you think it's reasonable to think that you could, if you send out 10 samples, you could either get 3 customers or 1 consultant, one or the other, 3 or 1? Do you think that's a reasonable expectation? Okay, Crystal says yes. Yeah, I think it is. So I've heard from a lot of consultants who are giving out samples, and we've given out quite a few samples, that they're seeing like 5 to 8 out of 10, 50 to 80% of the people who try it end up purchasing. Okay. Kelly, I think it was, said that when will the app be ready for Android? It's just the approval process. It's already finished and it's been sent into, I think it's called the Google Play Store. It takes 7 days. So it should be the middle of this week that it's ready, that it's available on Android. Okay. So Krista Hampton's asking if we tried it yet. No, because the app we were testing wasn't functional. It was a beta. So we just barely got it on Saturday like you. But I'm throwing us some numbers with them, some assumptions, and then we're going to put together a plan together of how to make this work, okay? But I feel like that's the break-even rate is pretty reasonable. Meaning if I spend $65 to send out 10 samples, could I expect to at least break even? And I feel like that's a pretty reasonable expectation, that we could pretty much expect to at least break even. So let me now I want to kind of share with you why I kind of came to that. So back in the home party days, and Jason shared some of these numbers, Jason Norton shared some of these numbers on Saturday. Back in the home party days, for people that were doing 4 home parties, so 1 party a week, they were averaging about 5 people per party. Okay, and from those 4 parties, they were on average getting about 8 deliveries and 2 consultants. Okay, so that's kind of where this whole 4-2 came, because it was pretty reasonable that even a brand new consultant, if they did 1 party a week, could get at least 4 deliveries and 2 consultants. Okay, so that's kind of where that came from. So that was back in the home party days, and a lot of people in the first year or 2 did way more than 1 party a week, right, Lisa?
Right, yeah.
Lisa was doing 3 or 4.
At least 3 a week we were doing, and honestly, you had to pay for gas. If you had children, you had to pay for a babysitter. Cost, for the samples that you brought. So $650 in my book is really cheap.
Yeah, because there were costs involved. Everybody, I know people like Sherry Brower, she broke down exactly what her cost per party was, and I think Holly Hardy did as well. But a lot of people just went out, and I know Lisa was just like, hey, I'm going to do samples, and I'm going to make something for them, and I'm going to give away some free, some giveaways, some drawings.
All of you probably on this call spent a fair amount of money per party.
Probably $15, $20.
Right.
And that's before you figure gas, and if you had to get a babysitter, and even just your time and all that stuff. You spent a lot doing a party, right? Well, this is just a different way that you're going to need to spend some money in advertising, okay? And I think it's much more scalable, because a party, you could only do so many parties, right?
Right.
A lot of people, 1 or 2 a week was like the most they could do. They couldn't be away from their family that much, and all those different things that there were. But I remember times you were doing 2 in an evening.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Back to back.
Many times back-to-back parties, or a couple on a Saturday and things like that. So this is way more scalable. So here's kind of taking from the party numbers. I kind of took this. If we were to send out 20 samples, because that's getting in front of 20 people, same as at a home party, 4 parties, you would get you in front of about 20 people. Well, with RUVI, the samples, if you send out 20 samples, that's getting in front of 20 people, right? So could you expect about the same numbers, 4 deliveries and 2 consultants? I think you could, but it definitely is going to take some follow-up, and not only follow-up, but pre-qualifying.
Pre-qualifying and follow-up. Yeah, for
pre-qualifying and follow-up. And parties took follow-up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they took pre-qualifying, and not really pre-qualifying, but they took hostess coaching, right?
The more excited your coach was, the better your party was.
So there were things you had to do before the party to make sure it's successful, and after the party. Absolutely. And I think it's the exact same way for RUVI, for the Share app, is before you just randomly send out free samples to people, you've got to do some prep. Yep. And then you've got to send it, and then you've got to do some follow-up. And the app makes that a lot easier because it lets you know what people have done, what they've watched, when they received it. It sends some follow-up emails, things like that. Okay, so let's just take that assumption that if we sent out 20 samples, we could get the same kind of results that we would off a party, 4 and 2, which is going to allow you to hit builder bonus, which is going to allow you to make more money, higher commission.
And some of you that are new to this call, that will double your commission. When you hit 4 deliveries and 2 new consultants, that actually doubles your delivery. Yeah. That doubles your commission.
I'm going to show you that in just a second. So if we sent 20 samples and if we got 4 deliveries and 2 consultants, that would be $192. Okay, in profit, just immediate profit, not looking at increased commission or builder bonus or any of that, just in the immediate. Okay, but with builder bonus, it would double. Okay, you would make, instead of $192, you'd make $384 because you would hit builder bonus. So I see this as being a way to make it much easier to hit builder bonus, right? It used to be, man, if I don't have any parties on the books or I'm not talking to enough people, then I can't, it's really a struggle to do that. Well, with this, if you consistently share, and JJ on Saturday shared a number, share with 2 people a day. If you were to share with 2 people a day, you're going to keep your business growing and keep the leads coming in.
And one of the ideas that I say, because people will say, well, where do I get these people from? Many of you on this call have people that have already bought the food. And so it's an introduction to RUVI. So dig through those lists of people that have just bought the Thrive food and introduce them to RUVI.
Yep. We have seen, we have a lot of customers on our customer list who came into us a long time ago through emergency preparedness. And we also have some team members who were big in the emergency preparedness space back several years ago. And we know that that market has kind of died off. Of course, it's going crazy right now because of coronavirus. But what is interesting is that those consultants who have really focused on the preparedness industry or were focusing on the industry are selling a lot of RUVI.
A lot.
Right?
Because their message is not only get this food to store and to eat, let's get your immune system built up during this time where you don't want to get sick.
Yeah. So it's something where, even people in that preparedness space are able to capitalize on RUVI. People understand it, and there's a big need for it.
And also on the 4.2, I just want to mention, this unlocks you for our pool shares. And so I just wanted to say, not only does your commission get doubled, it unlocks you to shares in the pool. And we'll go into that a little bit later. But it's kind of the secret sauce to opening up a lot of things here.
Yeah. So I see kind of a foundation of growing this thing is to set a commitment of how many, or a goal of how many samples am I going to send out like per month. And if you did 20, that would be 1 per business day about, right? And I feel like if you did that, you could probably, these would be pretty reasonable numbers to get 4 deliveries and 2 consultants. And if you can do that, you're going to be capitalizing on the commission, the upfront commission, because it's going to double. You're going to tap into pool shares, and you're going to start building a team.
Yes.
And it's going to be so much more duplicatable to build your team using this app, because it's just so much easier to train. I mean, there's training videos right within the app on how to use it.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So what does this mean? Send 20 samples. If you sent 20 samples, you would be spending $130 to make back at least $192. Or with builder bonus, if you do 4-2, $384. And then you add onto that shares and overrides. So when I talk about those numbers at the beginning, like $22 was the average consultant, or as their average customer value, or what was it? $51, I think, for average consultant. Lisa's like, well, that's kind of depressing when I showed her those numbers. But then you think about how it starts to build and grow, and you tap into the additional pool and shares. And it really, imagine if you did this and sent out 20 samples every month and started doing this. $384 is kind of just your immediately new sales, but then you're also building the residual sales and building a team and tapping into the pool shares and all these different things. You can see how in a few months your income can really start to expand and grow, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I wanted to break down those numbers, and sorry if I lost some of you. And it's not important to really know all the details, because there's a lot of assumptions there. But really what's important is to recognize that I think it's very realistic to expect that if I send these things out, I'm going to get results. The question is, Francesca's a numbers nerd and she loves it. Thanks, Francesca. Glad you and me and a couple others are numbers nerds. So we're we kind of have some assumptions and projections. Now we've got to actually get in and do it and see if these numbers are even close.
We really want to collect your data.
Yeah, we
want to see what you're spending and what's coming back to you. And for Jeff and I, we've kind of made a commitment to do 4-2 every month. And people say, well, where is this money going to come from? Where are my marketing dollars going to come from? For us, it will be the shares that we get in the pool. So we're very, very motivated to get some shares in the pool, because those are going to be our marketing dollars. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe you decide, hey, I'm going to be doing good if I do 4-2. So maybe that extra double commission that you're going to get, maybe you take some of that commission and spend it on your RUVI Share app and get your marketing pieces out to your people. Wherever you decide to pull it from, it'd be interesting to know where you are pulling it from and how much you're spending in a month and what is coming back to you.
Yeah, yeah. What I would suggest is you decide, starting right off, is an amount. Like, what am I going to do? How much money can I commit to spending? Understanding from the numbers I ran through that it's pretty reasonable to expect that you're not going to lose money. You're at least going to break even, but probably do a lot better. Because I like to know, what do I have to do just to break even and make sure I'm not losing any money? If I'm going to spend money on advertising, I definitely don't want to flush money down the toilet. So I want to know. So we now know, with some basic data that we know from historical data, that it's pretty easy to break even.
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of where I came to in my mind after working through these numbers. I think it's very reasonable to expect I can at least break even, but likely do a lot better. So here's what our plan is. And I would suggest that you kind of do this. Is we've decided we're going to spend in the next month, the next 4 weeks, we're going to do 2 a day, send out 2 shares a day, which is, I'm going to just do the numbers, 2 times, let's say 5 days a week over the next 4 weeks is 40 packets. Okay. And if they cost me $6.50, that's $260. I'm committing, right, Lisa? Mm-hmm. We're going to commit to spend $260 over the next 4 weeks in sharing. Okay. Which is 2 a day. I suggest that you figure out what that is for yourself, whether it's 1 a day or 3 a week or 5 a day, whatever it is.
Make a goal,
make a plan, and then break it down to every day. Start doing it every day, whatever it is. After going through the numbers and knowing, okay, it's pretty reasonable to expect that you can break even. I think you ought to at least Oh, Ben says we can send him a sample. Okay, tell you what, Ben, if you get 4.2, we'll send you a sample. So I think it's pretty reasonable to expect that you're going to break even. So commit to spending some money. I would say at least do 10. Send 10 samples. At least commit $65. In the early days of doing parties, that was probably doing one party a week. Would be $65, right? So to me, I look at that as kind of the basic. Do one a day, or that would be one every other day, is going to be $65 over the next 4 weeks. And what we want to do is start to collect results and see, and what we'll find, I think, is some people who have a really high conversion rate and other people who's lower. And what might cause that?
The questions to ask are, well, why is Susie having this really high return rate, but Jody is not? And maybe Jody isn't doing the pre-qualifying, and maybe she's not doing the follow-up, and Susie is. And so we want to collect this data. Are we going to do a Google Doc?
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing some kind of a Google form where we could like, at the end of this 30 days, you could plug in your numbers anonymously and just say, okay, I sent this many samples. This is how many consultants I got from those samples, and this is how many new customer deliveries I got. Something like that, so that we could collect data from a lot of people and put it together and start crunching the numbers. And then what we want to do is people who are having more success, start tapping into them, have them come on here on our Zoom call and share what are they doing, and to have that success, because it really is going to come down to the pre-qualifying before you send out the sample, and the follow-up, and what you're saying, and the language you're using, and a lot of things like that. It was exactly the same in the early days with parties. There were people like, say, Eileen Knight. Eileen would go out and do a party with 8 people, and she'd get every single person on a delivery and 4 new consultants. And somebody else would go out and have 8 people and get no consultants and 1 delivery. And we had Eileen come on a lot and start sharing what she was doing. What was she saying? How was she doing it? And, lots of other people, same thing. People were having huge success and others not so much. And the people that were having the success and had figured out things that worked, shared them, and we're able to help everybody. And that's what we want to do here, is help everybody figure out the best ways to use this app, the best ways to share to get the best results.
We've got some questions coming in here, and I'd like to address Krista Hampton. She's asked about these credits. I know they gave everybody 2 credits in their account, and they have not been clear with the board or anybody else as to, do we earn these somehow? But one thing I do know, Krista, is you cannot convert Thrive credits over to your RUVI Share account.
They're 2 separate things.
They're 2 separate things. So we'll have to find out more on the RUVI credits, or the RUVI Share credits, to see if maybe if you hit certain milestones, if they're going to put some more credits in your account.
I'm not sure. This is also new. I'm not sure that they have figured out exactly. When we asked Jason that on a call last week, and he kind of just said, yeah, we're still trying to figure out. We're going to start off with, we'll give you, a couple, and then we'll figure out how we're going to do that. So I'm not sure they know exactly.
Yeah, and Debbie's asking, can you use your earned coupon codes? No, not right now. You can't. And so, what is a RUVI Share credit? Cindy, if you go into your account, your app, you'll see your credits.
Well, if you were on the call on Saturday in the afternoon session, I believe, then they gave everybody that was on there 2 credits. So 2 credits would mean you could send out 2 samples, and the company would cover the cost of that. And they haven't said exactly how we'll be able to earn those credits, but I'm sure they'll come up with ways to do it going forward.
And here's Francesca, let me just answer your question about pre-qualifying. So I just kind of wanted to send everybody a sample out. I'm just like that, just like, hey, let's just share the love and let's just get everybody a sample out. Well, Jeff is saying there is beauty in pre-qualifying people that actually want to try this. So that's what pre-qualifying, it's a conversation. Like, hey, you've ordered Try Foods over the years. I'd love to send you our newest product, which is called RUVI. Explain that. And then if they're interested, then send that out. There's more of a chance that you will get them to buy if you have a conversation on the front end and the back end.
Yep.
So
yep. There are also ways to do that pre-qualifying through the app. You can record your own video. If you remember, JJ was the guy's name, the app developer. JJ showed us how he had the thing where he pointed, and then you can drop little links into where you're pointing. So you could do a video and, hey guys, this is Lisa here, and I'm doing this, and learn more about RUVI, just click right here, and it could link to a video, and then say, and if you want to order, click here, and you can drop a thing there. Yeah. And so that could be one way. You could record a little message, and then the app actually lets you know that they've watched that. So maybe it's just having a little, asking them if they're interested in giving it a try. Maybe it's a survey. Maybe having them, it's like finding out what are your biggest challenges with food. Maybe it's making sure they watch a little intro video, something that just lets you know that, hey, they're not just looking for a freebie. They're actually interested in this.
Right.
And that's what I think we're going to find, that a lot of you guys start trying different things, and we're going to find some people that find things that really work well, and then we'll share those with everybody, right? But that's kind of my thoughts, is doing videos, maybe even doing little surveys. Maybe you do something, Ben said an online giveaway is great to pre-qualify. If they enter, they have raised their hand. Yeah, you could even do a thing where, hey, answer this short 3-question survey, and I'll send you a sample. And maybe then on your social media or something, you have it link over to a Google form where they answer 3 questions, and then if they do that, then you send them one. So there's lots of ways that you could pre-qualify them. But I think that's super important, is not to just randomly send them out to a ton of people, because if you haven't had the conversation beforehand, it's going to be harder to have that follow-up conversation.
Right.
But if you have a conversation first, you say, okay, I'm going to send this to you, and as soon as you get it, I want you to try it, and then I'm going to reach back out to you and see how you liked it. So then they're expecting that. And then, once they do, you have that conversation. Hey, so what did you think? And if they have a great experience, then that's great. You invite them to order. And if they don't, you maybe give them some tips. Oh, well, here's what I like to do. I like to add a little protein powder. If they say, oh, I didn't like it, or if it was whatever, you can have those conversations. Okay. So that's why the pre-qualifying and follow-up are, I believe, going to be so important.
And your analytics, watching your analytics to see if, people opened your video and things like that. It's going to be really good. And Kaylee, I like your idea about Freebie Fridays. That's awesome, and talk to Tracy Taylor about getting your product out because she seems to have a little tip on getting things out for a little bit less expensive there in Canada. So talk to her. She's got some great ideas.
Yeah. We don't claim to be the experts on this. We're brand new at this, just like all of you. So we want to hear what's working, and that's the purpose. That's what our goal here is. And as we start having people find what's working, we're going to be able to refine that and share it. And so, back to committing some marketing dollars. You may not be in a position to do that. So if you're not, that's fine. But if you're in a position where you can commit to send out 10 in the next month and spend $65, or send 20 and spend $130, whatever it is, maybe it's $20, then I would encourage you to do that, understanding that I really believe it's very reasonable that you're at least going to break even on that. So you're not going to lose money if you do some pre-qualifying and some follow-up. But then here's the thing, is if let's just say, look at the numbers that we have on the screen. Let's say that you send out 20 samples. You're able to hit builder bonus because of that, and you make $384. So you send out 20 samples, which costs you $130, and you make back $384.
That's a good return.
So Lisa, let me ask you this: if you send out 20 in the next 20 days, and you made $300, it costs you $130, you made $385. how much will you spend the following month?
More.
As much as you can, right?
Right.
Right. If you put $1 in and get $2 out, which this is even better than that. And again, these are assumptions, so I don't know this is a fact. That's why you don't want to spend $1,000 this month sending out samples. You want to do something to test it, okay? But you've got to do a big enough test to get usable results. If we recognize that, you know what, for every 8 packets that I send out, I get 1 delivery. Well, if you only send out 5, you may not get anything, and you might just think this doesn't work. So you've got to send enough to move the needle, to get some results so that we can start measuring them. But then that's why if we combine everybody's results together, we can really start to draw some numbers. And so, sorry, I shouldn't look at the question because I lose my train of thought. But if you send I really think 20, 1 a day over a month will give you enough information. But then as we all combine that information, it will give us even more. But if you did that, if you sent out 20 and you put, for every $1 you put in, you got $2 back. Mm-hmm. Then you can start to scale it. You can have some confidence. Say, you know what? If I'm making $1 or $2 for every $1 I put in, or even if I put $1 in and I make $1.50 back or $1.25, whatever it is, if you're making profit for every $1 in advertising you spend, you're going to scale it up, right? And that's what it's all about. If you look at any kind of marketing, it's all about scalability. It's all about testing out and proving out what works. If it doesn't work, tweak it. And then once you have something that does work, you start to scale it, right? So let's just say that if you spend $130 over the next 4 weeks and you get some results, mm-hmm. and you find, okay, I'm going to tweak a little bit and I'm going to do the same thing the next month. Mm-hmm. And now my results are a little bit better.
Right.
And now you're going to say, okay, that works. I'm going to spend more money. Right. I'm going to start putting money back into this advertising and marketing and start scaling it up. That is going to explode this thing. Once we figure out what's working and get some baseline data, then we're going to be able to share that with everybody and say, okay, this is working. Here's kind of the cookie cutter template that you need to do. Yep. That we know works as we've tested and proven it. We knew that in the early days with parties. We knew if you would do 4 parties, 1 party a week, and your first couple of parties may not go that great, but if you get pretty good at doing parties and you do 1 a week, we knew that you were going to get certain results.
Right.
Same thing with this. Once we get this thing tested and proven out, we're going to know what kind of results you can expect. And then it's a matter of just how much am I willing to invest and reinvest to get better, more and higher results.
Right. I think that's awesome. And we got lots of questions coming in. So I want to kind of take, somebody asked about the printed materials. Can we order those online? I don't know that yet. Kaylee's heard that a 10-pack of samples will be available to purchase in our delivery. Haven't heard that yet. So I will ask corporate about these things. I don't know why your chat is going to Karen.
I don't know who Karen is. It's not going to us. Yeah.
So anyway, any more questions, guys, that you have that I can find out information?
So here's somebody, Cindy said, I used one of the videos on a social media post on Saturday after the event. I had a neighbor sign up immediately to have a sample sent to her. She was willing to pay for it. That's something we didn't even talk to. Thanks for pointing that out, Cindy, that you don't have to pay for these. You can ask the person to pay for it, $6.50. Okay. So in the app, there are settings where you can either you can agree to pay for it, or you can ask the person to pay for it. And like Cindy said, there are people that are going to be willing to pay for it. So that might be your approach. Okay. For us in the beginning, we're willing to invest a little bit of money to to test this and figure it out. But you may not be able to do that right now, or you may not want to do that right now. And that's okay too. However you decide you want to do this. But I think the important thing is that we need to start doing something to start figuring out what works.
Yeah. Absolutely. Annie, we are checking into the Android phone access because I know a lot of you have Android phones and want to get going. And
they said
I would be super frustrated too.
Yeah.
So
it's not,
we will get on that.
Yeah, just so you know, I said this at the beginning if you weren't on, that the Android app is finished. It just hasn't been approved yet by the Google Play Store. And that takes 7 days. And they think that it should be approved by the middle of the week, hopefully like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So keep checking the Google Play Store, and it should be available very shortly.
Okay, so some people are saying there's a video about Cindy Poole again says the video just offered the sample and led her to pay for it. We didn't even have a conversation. So awesome. I am thinking, and this is from Kaylee, I am thinking the pay for it yourself link I'll post to my blog. Also for my Freebie Friday post, anyone who doesn't win a freebie, I'll let them know they can get a sample by just paying the shipping. Awesome. Awesome ideas here, you guys. This is what we need. We need the collaboration so that we all get the results that we desire.
Yeah. And some of these chats are going up so fast, I'm sure we're missing some, but we'll print these out at the end and we'll try to answer them in the Million Dreams team. And also we'll share these with corporate. We have another advisory board call on Thursday of this week.
Right.
And so if you have other things, let's put them in the comments of this post. And I'll post the recording to this in Million Dreams team. So after, if you still have things after this this meeting is ended, post them in the comments in a Million Dreams team, and we'll take those to corporate.
Platform. Krista's asking about any suggestions on what kind of and what platform we should start. Are you talking about social media, Krista? Because I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking Instagram is the best to get it out to the full audience. You know how
I would
Facebook
say,
is good too, but they just have a different algorithm.
I would do both. Yeah, here's the thing. In Facebook, you can put links within your post, and in Instagram, you cannot. But what you can do in Instagram is change the link in your bio. Now, what we've done, you can check out. We have a couple of Instagram feeds or profiles. One is RUVI 26, and one is Thrive Freeze Dried. If you look at those and go to our link in bio, there's a little add-on app called Linktree, and it'll allow you to put multiple links within in your Instagram bio. And you could put a link, and this, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to, is you can put a link there for request a sample, and you could have them pay for it, just say pay the shipping and handling, $6.50. But if you do that, you can, then you could put it in your Instagram, because the nice thing about Instagram is by using hashtags, you can reach people who don't even follow you. Where on Facebook, it's less likely. You can use hashtags, but they're not as widely used on Facebook as they are on Instagram. So I would do both, but Instagram, that's a little thing, is look into that link tree, and you can see that on our Instagram. Like I said, either Thrive Freeze Dried or RUVI 26, and go to our bio, and you'll be able to see how that link tree works. And it's a pretty cool thing. And there are other ones out there too. Linktree is the one we use, and it lets you put multiple links in your bio. And it's like we have one for RUVI and one for videos, our YouTube channel, and one to shop, and I'll do one for request to sample. So things like that. So
a lot of people are saying TikTok is a good platform. I haven't tried TikTok, but it looks like Melissa has. So awesome. Yeah.
Try that. There's lots of them out there. There's a new one popping up every week, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
But I think any of them will work wherever people are that you want to reach. Give that a try. You could do it through YouTube, even a YouTube channel. There's lots of ways you can do it. And we're not experts on that. We're trying different things as well, but we're definitely going to share what does work. Any others, Lisa, here that?
Any last questions that we can answer for you or try to answer?
So there's a question from Mo. Mo, is that Mo or Melanie? I'm not sure. It says Mo here. Want to learn more about this new site? How do I get to that teaching video they showed us? I think you're maybe talking about from Saturday when they did the demonstration, and they did record that. They'll be putting that up. I would watch the Thrive Life Consultant Facebook group for that if that's what you're talking about.
Or your back office, it might be on the news feed.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll edit it down and do some things. So it might take a couple of days before that's up, but it should be up there soon. But also in the app, if you're on an iPhone, you can download the app now and you can start. There are training videos within the app. If you're on an Android, you might have to wait a couple of days. Also, there's the desktop version kind of the app, which is pretty cool. I've pulled that up and played around with it, and it has a lot of good information at your fingertips. So you'll want to look at that too. And that is, let me just look here. Called the RUVI dashboard. So if you go to ruvishare.mysecureoffice.com and then log in with your normal login information. Let me just make sure this works. Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Then that pulls up the RUVI dashboard, and it's got, I don't know, you can add contacts, you can share videos. So you can so if you're at your computer, you don't have to do it all from the phone. There's a lot of things you can do from the desktop app. So again, that's RUVI Share. I'll actually copy it.
Why don't you put it in
I think I just want to delete part of it so it doesn't go to mine. Okay, I'm going to put this in the comments, and I think you'll be able to just click on this. Oh, why am I trying to send that to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so that link right there, I just put in the comments. If you click on that, it'll take you to your desktop version. You'll use your regular login. So Kaylee says, sorry this went to one person. I like Linktree, works great, but if you use it, try not to overdo the links. I heard max of 3, otherwise people clicking on your Linktree feel overwhelmed. Okay, good tip. Another thing that's cool about Linktree is it gives you analytics. So you can actually pull it up on your computer and see, how many people have clicked and different things like that. So yeah, Linktree is pretty cool. And it allows you, because you are limited on links. Like you can't put a link in your message or your post. You have to do it in your bio. And if you're doing different links all the time, you're constantly having to go into your profile and change that. And then, like, let's see, you did one on a certain thing 2 weeks ago, and now you do something new, you have to change your link in bio. But then if somebody looks at the old post and wants to click on that link, it doesn't go there. It goes to the new one that you just put. So it can be kind of a mess. So Linktree is a nice way to go. I think it's like I don't know, if you just Google Linktree, it'll take you there. I think it's like link.tr or something like that. Link, yeah. Anyway, any other final questions before we wrap this up? We've gone a lot. There it is, linktr.ee. Yep, that's it.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Yeah. So you go there, you just set it up for your profile, and you can do it for multiple ones. I've done it for 4 or 5 different Instagram accounts. And it's free. I think there is a paid version, but the free one works fine, and you can use that. So
perfect.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. We've gone a little longer than normal, but a lot to cover. And again, in follow up, just want to encourage you to commit to an ad spend over the next 4 weeks, whether it's 10 samples, 20 samples, 30, 40, whatever it is. Let's start collecting some data and then sharing what's working, and let's all together rock this thing. And really, I think we've got this powerful tool now that can really help us share easily, especially as people are hunkered down in their houses and nobody's going to hold a live event. I mean, all expos have been canceled. You're not going to be able to do party. You're not going to be able to, a lot of people, hard to even meet one-on-one with somebody. But this is a great way to share from the comfort of your own home through the app. And people want this right now. Like I said, we have people on our team who have been really, really focused on preparedness. Even they are selling a ton of RUVI right now. Position it. If you didn't watch the training we did last week about ways to position RUVI with what's going on right now, it can boost your immunity. It can give you the nutrition you need, even if you're not able to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. If you don't have freeze dried, there you're going to be able to get your fruits and veggies in the drink. It's just a lot of benefits that people recognize are important right now. So this is a perfect time.
And we do have it in stock. So sell RUVI.
Yeah.
We do have a few foods, and hopefully we'll get a few more in this week. I know tomato dices just came back in, and we should get some more in. But
yep.
We'll let you know on the Android. I'm going to text Jason and see what the status on that is, and we'll let you Android users know as soon as possible when you can get this RUVI Share app.
Yep. Thank you guys for being with us. We will see you. We'll talk to you again next week. Bye.